Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Bhagavad-gītā as it is, chapter 9, text 4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham tesha vastitah. Repeat. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani nachaham tesha vastitah. Can someone please read the translation? Mataji's Prabhu's, anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are me, but I am not in them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Okay. Next sloka, please, Prabhu. Okay. 9.5. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरं भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावनः. Repeat. न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरं भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थो ममात्मा भूतभावनः. Can someone read the translation, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Can I read it?
Sure.
And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestations, because I am the very source of creation. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. So yes, Prabhu, we can stop sharing screen. So we'll take 9.6 also. Okay, fine. Thank you, Prabhuji. So now this 9th chapter we are discussing about Bhakti Yoga. We are seeing the most confidential knowledge of all. So if you see in the 3rd chapter, there was about Karma Yoga, then further continuation was there in the 5th chapter. Similarly, here in the 7th chapter, we had most of these points covered, but in detail, Lord explains the points further in 9th chapter. So it speaks more of the most confidential knowledge. He presents this knowledge as most confidential knowledge. So there's a similarity is given between 7 and 9th chapter. The 7th chapter, first it is mentioned about hearing about Krishna. So in the 9th chapter also, first it is mentioned about hearing about Krishna, that this is the most confidential knowledge. And then 7.4 to 7 and 9.4 to 10 that gives the list of Krishna's energies and his relationship with the material world. So we are in that section. Then further there is Krishna's all pervasiveness within the world, and then Devata worship, Krishna worship, then impersonalists versus the devotees. Like that, the same points in the 7th chapter is further explained in detail in the 9th chapter. So like 3rd chapter and further 5th chapter, similarly 7th chapter and then in 9th chapter. So towards the end of 8th chapter, Lord explained that a pure devotee solely fixed on performing Ananya Bhakti unto him surpasses the paths of light and darkness. So there are 2 paths were mentioned. One was the Jnani, by the proper vision, he can, he's eligible for liberation towards the end. I think 8 point, what is that verse? Fixing the mind at the time, fixing the mind, intelligence, everything upon the Lord at the time of the death. That towards the end, 9.26, 25, 24, 25, 26, it was mentioned about the Jnani path and the Karmi path. There are 2 different paths. And then the end, 8.27, it is mentioned, a devotee, although the devotee know these 2 paths, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion, O Arjuna. Lord says to Arjuna, be always fixed in devotion. Further, about devotion, about the bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, about transcendental loving devotional service unto the Lord, that is further explained in the 9th chapter. Here we see different Aishwarya Jnana, Krishna's relationship with this material world. So we see in the 7th chapter, 7th verse, Lord says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mayi sarvam idam proktam sutre mani gana iva. Like in the when you see a necklace or the other device video is there, right?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, sorry, Prabhu. My this laptop video is not getting done, so I'm just using the phone video. Okay. So he says, "O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread." So if he sees a nice garlands or a nice necklace, nice this thing, there will be pearls. We don't see the thread inside. We see the pearls nicely stuck together, like we see very nicely done necklace. So we see the pearls there. We don't see the thread. So the thread, because of the thread, that pearls are so tightly stuck together because of the thread. So the Lord says, everything rests upon me, the material world, spiritual world, everything is from me and everything rests upon me. By my energy, it is all running. The Lord says that. So behind everything, there is a will of the Lord. Whatever happens is by the will of the Lord. Even a blade of grass will not move without the will of the Lord. So that is a point we have to understand, that we have to remind ourselves. Though we may feel we have understood, we have to remind ourselves repeatedly over and over again. We have to remind ourselves. So these points are again explained by the Lord in detailed manner. He's explaining it. So the similar way of the pearls we see that is strung together like this, in this material world, everything rests upon the Lord. So if I have to take an example in the 6th verse, there's an example coming, that's the wind. So wind carries everything. Okay, but that rests in the space. Like that, everything rests upon the Lord. So he is the source of everything. In the 4th and 5th verse of 9th chapter, we're singing that he is the source of everything. Everything comes from him and everything is run by his energies, but he is completely aloof from there. He is not affected. He is not affected by any of it. So he says, I pervade this entire universe. I am in everything in an unmanifested form. So that form is not visible to us. The Lord's unmanifested form is not visible to us. He is all pervading everywhere. But that does not mean that he is all pervading us. He is spread throughout this world or this universe. He is spread throughout. So his individual existence is not there. That we cannot conclude. In this Upanishad, we have the first, the introduction, we have that sloka, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, complete. So everything is complete. From that complete whole, if even though so many small parts are expanded or comes out of that complete whole, but the complete whole remains the complete whole. So other materially, if we see some dump is there, a lot of things are there. Out of that, if we take, the quantity may reduce, but it is not like that in comparison to the Lord. So from Lord, everything comes, this material world, all the energies expand out of him, but still he remains the complete whole. We should not consider that he is impersonal because he is spread throughout the world. That is confirmed here. So if we, and although here it is mentioned that he is spread everywhere, that he is present everywhere, it is not very easy to understand him or see him. That is also mentioned that we need the eyes, we need the proper vision. That concept comes of the divine vision. You see here in the 9th chapter 4th verse, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions from Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhehi jivhado swayam eva spurati adaha. So you say Lord Krishna's name, fame, pastimes, etc. cannot be understood by material senses. Only to one who is engaged in pure devotional service under proper guidance is he revealed. So even in 11th chapter, when Arjuna says, oh Lord, please show me the universal form, he shows everything and he gets bewildered. He says, no, please show me your original form. He shows the 400 form, then the 200 form. As Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, he shows that form and he says, this form is very difficult to understand or even see. It can be only seen or understood by devotees. So there that quality, by devotee. So Lord is indicating Krishna is devotee. And the before that, in the 10th or the 9th, if we come here, Lord says what is the qualification required. That is faith. Faith is required and non-enviousness is required. The Shraddha is required and non-enviousness is required, and be a devotee. So Arjuna was a devotee and a friend of the Lord. So he was chosen for this. So further he says in the 11th that not everyone can see this. You are able to see me, or you are able to see this form, very rarely visible form. This is only by the devotional service. You are a devotee of me, I am showing this form. So in, here the reference is given of Brahma Samhita 5.38. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shama Sundara, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. So the qualification to see the Lord or understand the Lord, that is the divine eyes, that is filled with the love or devotion. So the love for the Lord, love for Krishna that we should have, then we can see or understand all this. But here, along with that, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that is only to one who is engaged in pure devotion, devotional service under proper guidance. So that again, that point comes of proper guidance and the power of devotee association, a proper guidance or mentorship or counseling, that is very well required, that we stay connected. So under the proper guidance, initially itself the importance of a guru is mentioned in the 4th chapter. We see we have to approach a guru, serve him, surrender unto him, then inquire from him about Krishna. Then slowly it's saying, then this knowledge comes in. Here again Srila Prabhupada quotes and mentions that. So we have to be under proper guidance. So if you have to see that form, we should have the divine eyes. So that eyes, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, that eyes with the love, filled with love of God, is love of Krishna is mentioned. So it's Lord says, I am in everything and everything. I am in everything, but I am not in everything. He says that point. That is, everything comes from him. All living beings are in me. Their existence is dependent on me. And as I am their cause. So he says, Masthani Sarva Bhutani. So everything is in me. And then he says, Nachaham Teshu Avastita, but I am not in them. So he says, I am not dependent on them. He is aloof. He is not dependent on anything. So if you see in this material world, as soon as we enter into this material world, we get bound by the modes of material nature. We get a conditioned body and we get bound by the 3 modes of material nature. But the Lord, Lord's appearance is not so. He doesn't get a material body. He comes in the spiritual body itself, and he doesn't get affected by the modes, because he is the master of the modes of material nature. So he is the master of everything and everyone. So he doesn't get affected. Krishna is present everywhere by his personal representation, the diffusion of his different energies. As a super soul or Paramatma, which is Krishna's expansion, Krishna controls and supports the entire universe by entering within it. He says entering within it. Now in the 10th chapter, 42nd verse, where there's a this thing, introduction towards the 11th chapter, the Lord says, he mentions about all his opulences, all his aishwaryas, and this then says, but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. Athava bahu naitena kim nyatena tavarjuna Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekamshena stito jagat. So you have to understand, with just a tiny portion, he's able to maintain everything. So just imagine the entire personality of God and how it will be. With the tiny portion, he's able to maintain and he's able to sustain everything. So let's it's a base for the 11th chapter. Arjuna says, so you have said about that point, that you maintain everything. Please show me that form which you enter into everything and maintain everything. So that's the 11th chapter. Now Krishna says he is not in everything. So he says, behold my mystic opulence, Yoga Meshwaram, everything that is created doesn't rest in me. So he says, he has created everything. So he is a source of everything. In the Chatusloki Bhagavad-gītā 10.8, 9, 10, 11, we see that. So he is the source of everything. Everything comes from him. Even the creator we consider as Brahma. Even Brahma says that I am not the creator. I have also come from someone. That is the Supreme Personality of God. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Radha Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So although I maintain everything, I am not a part of this creation. For myself is the very source of creation. Is Yoga Maishwaram. So the inconceivable mystic power that is mentioned in fourth this thing that everything comes from him, and in fifth he says I am in everything, but everything is not in me. It may appear like contradictory, but it's not contradictory. It is to be understood that this point, if we have to understand, that we have to be in the proper guidance. So by the mercy of our devotees and acharyas, we have got connected to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, so we are able to understand this. Otherwise we may get bewildered. Okay, Krishna is saying a self-contradictory statement. In the previous statement, everything comes from me and I am in everything, I am not in everything. So if I have to further understand this is just a theoretically he is saying. Now practically, if I have to say in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see various devotees following this, and the dealings or reciprocation relationship of Lord Krishna with his devotees, we can see practically, we can see, and there we can understand this knowledge, whatever we are getting, practically we can see as a jnana vijnana, we can see how this is applied in the devotee's life. So the example to understand this is given in the next verse itself, 9.6 itself, about a wind. Or if you have to understand, crude example is given here. Srila Prabhupada mentions about a king. The king or government, he has different departments. He has arranged different departments to look after different aspects, and he has appointed different leaders or kings, appointed leaders or ministers by the government. So they are appointed. So now everything, the ultimate decision, everything comes from the government or the king. But it cannot be expected that he physically come or he physically be present in each department or each affair. He'll have different things to take care. So he has appointed, and his representative will take care. Like that, the king we can understand the king or the government rules are applied everywhere or in everything, but you cannot expect that the king is directly there. King is separately there, but his energies we can consider, or his powers we can consider. We can see in terms of different departments, and we are getting so many different things through different agents or different ministers or different leaders or different departments. So that all comes from him. So like likewise, the Lord's energies, say distributed energies, and by the energies everything is maintained or sustained, everything is running. But we should not consider that Krishna is split. Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is present everywhere. He is present everywhere. So his individuality is gone. So his individuality is always there. He is at the same time, he is continually existing throughout the nature, or throughout everywhere he is present. So you should not get confused. So ultimately, the continued existence and functionalities of all moving and non-moving entities depend on Krishna's will. So Krishna concludes that here, that everything comes from me, everything rests upon me, but I'm not affected. I am aloof. I am not affected by any of those. So in the 7th chapter also we see, in the 9th chapter also we are further seeing that, and in 10th chapter he explains that I am the source of everything. So he explains in detail. So as we are trying to be devotees, we may understand, okay, these points the Lord is giving us, but it is not in the Bhagavad-gītā. Not only devotees will read, many types of people will read. For everyone's understanding, Lord explains it further detailed way. Doesn't say, okay, you become a devotee, you will understand everything. He explains properly for a devotees and a non-devotees point of view. For anyone who is reading this Bhagavad-gītā, for their understanding, Lord explains this clearly. So over and over above, it's a reminder for all of us that we remind ourselves daily. We may understand, okay, Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but practically we have to remind ourselves daily that we have to surrender unto the Lord, and we have to check our surrender, how much we have surrendered, how much more we have to surrender, that we have to check. So in most of the verses, we see the repetitive points, but it is to remind us. Prabhupada is reminding us that we stay connected with the Lord, and we remind ourselves daily that we are the servants of the Lord. Krishna is ultimate, and his greatness is revealed in these verses. So thank you, Prabhu Mataji. So please unmute all of you. Let's chant 3 times Hare Krishna mantra together, please.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu Mataji. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhu, any announcement?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. No
Hare Krishna
announcements.
Prabhu,
Thank
thank
you
you,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Vanchita
Prabhuji.
Patrabhasya